Good morning, everybody. It's Roland Comtois for a second time, and we are going live again to you here Wednesday, December 6, 2017. I'm in my Rhode Island office this morning. I'm just waiting for you to tune in, join in. I hope that you can hear me, see me. If so, give me a shout out. Let me know where you're listening from, where you're tuning in from, and I will shout your name out to the world. Again, thank you so much for joining me on Facebook Live. This is my weekly Wednesday morning check-in with all of you. It has been a little inconsistent over the last few weeks because of Mabel's illness and then her subsequent passing. To all of you that sent us love and energy, I can't tell you how grateful I am for all the support that you have shared with us. This morning, in honor of Mabel and certainly all of your animals, I want to read this prayer. It was written by Albert Schweitzer, and it comes from, actually, one of Tulia's, Tulia, my dear teacher who passed 10 years ago, from one of her sermons. She used to do a sermon for animals on the St. Francis feast day, and I'm going to read this morning. Hear our humble prayer, O God, for our friends the animals, especially for animals who are suffering, for any that are hunted or lost or deserted or frightened or hungry, for all that must be put to death. We entreat for them all thy mercy and pity, and for those who deal with them, we ask for a heart of compassion and gentle hands and kindly words. Make us ourselves to be true friends to animals, and so to share the blessings of the merciful. And so I offer that prayer this morning for you, for your animals, for your relationship with your animals, and for all of the love and the energy that is offered to them. But more importantly, what they do for us. And I wanted to spend a couple of minutes this morning telling you that we are the ones that are fortunate to have them in our lives. They change us. They transform us, and their mission, I'm quite sure, is to bring us to a place of understanding and compassion within our own heart and soul. And this is the lesson that I've been learning since Mabel's passing, that she was an extraordinary teacher to me and an instrument of goodness. And St. Francis says it well, make me a channel of your peace, make me an instrument of thy peace. And I think that's what this is really all about, that they bring us peace, and certainly Mabel was an instrument of that energy and that love and that peace. So thank you, heartfelt thank you for all that you gave us through your prayers, your energy, your generosity, your love, and your support. I am incredibly grateful. A couple of shout outs this morning to Dawn in Westport, Massachusetts. Thank you. Jessica in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Margie in Stonington, Connecticut. Karen in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Lynn in Snug Harbor. Terry Lynn in Waltham. Gloria in Bellingham, Massachusetts. Connie in Vegas. Jackie in Somerset, Massachusetts, and Cheryl in Massachusetts, Elaine in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Patty in Brantford, Connecticut, Linda in Cumberland, and Donna in Foxborough, Mass. Thank you so much for joining in. I was thinking about healing, and healing simply means the return to balance, or balancing the energy and coming back to our normal, the normal that is of our body, mind, and spirit. And Hippocrates said, 5th century before Christ, that this oozing energy or something comes from that practitioner, and it goes to, or when applied to the sick or to the imbalance, it creates something. It creates energy or balance. So he said that there was an ooze of energy that came from the palms of our hands. And he says that when we applied it to the sick, it changed the energy flow in some way. And I think about that, I think about the prayers that were sent and the prayers that we send to you and the energy that we send to you. It's no different than what Hippocrates said a long time ago, 5th century before Christ, that this energy comes from us. And when it comes from us in an unconditional place, it restores balance. It brings us to some kind of balance. Now, the real healer here is the divine, is you, and people who offer healing support are simply the conduit for that energy, for that experience. So I think about Mabel, certainly, and Lily, and all of you. If you have a pet out there that you love and is part of your family, why don't you put their name in the scroll here, and we'll just be connected to all of our animals this morning. But just as Mabel, I didn't tell you this, but when Mabel came home from her previous residence, and she was sitting on the chair, and she had a little snack, and she was choking to death. I had to do the Heimlich maneuver on her on the very first day of her being there. And I realized at that moment 10 years ago that she really has come into our lives, into my life, to restore my compassion, to help me see beyond conditions and restraints, and really understand what unconditional love is. And you know, she was that being, as all of your pets are. I don't even like using the word pet. There's got to be a better way of saying it other than saying a family member. And so, as Hippocrates said, through the palms of the hands, well, I did the Reiki symbols on all of Mabel's paws. And I imagine that every time in her lifetime when she came close to someone, when her paw touched the friend who was visiting us, the energy was transmitted through her as a conduit of energy, a conduit of support. It isn't any different than you going onto a massage table and somebody putting their hands there who's been attuned to the energy, who can be a conduit of that energy. And something very miraculous happened because that was done for her. And in the end, when it's all said and done, it really is about unconditional love. It really is. And she was the I call her my joy collaborator, because without her, well, she was wonderful. I'll just leave it there. We are in very interesting times. As you already know, we're in Mercury retrograde. I was listening to a radio show last night, and the lady is a psychic radio show somewhere, and I just happened to turn it on, and she says, we're in Mercury retrograde, and Diane confirmed that this morning. And my phone and the computers this morning are telling us we're in Mercury retrograde. But she said, don't sign any contracts, don't do anything big, don't make any big decisions. And come on, life is full of big decisions every single day. I think maybe it's how we look at it, how we judge it, how we gauge it, how we get invested in that particular moment. So we're in Mercury retrograde. Yahoo! It's a time to go inward. That's the whole point of it, right? It's the whole point of going within ourselves to really be connected to who and what we are, and really trying to establish that from the get-go. And so, we're in Mercury retrograde, so take care of yourself. It's the holidays, so take care of yourself. It's overwhelming, so take care of yourself. It's stressful because you're being pressed to do 1,000 things. So yesterday, I went into TJ Maxx. And I went in there thinking I was going to buy somebody a Christmas gift. And I walked in there and I saw people, and I heard this one woman say, I can't even pay my electric bill, but I have to buy a gift for someone. And I thought, how diluted has this become? That's not what this is about. We're not supposed to give gifts we can't afford. We're supposed to give ourselves. So maybe we should be thankful Mercury retrograde is here at this moment, so that we can go within, get reconnected, and then give a part of ourselves to someone else instead of not paying the electric bill. I mean, I heard another young person say that, you know, I'm gonna spend an extra $20 and I'll worry about paying for it next month or getting it resolved next month. And I'm not sure if that's what this is about. Oh boy, I hope I don't make you mad, but I think we screwed it up. I think we screwed things up. I think we're supposed to be here for each other. I think we're supposed to be here for each other. I don't know if my daughter's going to like this. When she doesn't get her gift this year. No, I'm going to get her a gift. But it might not be as elaborate. Maybe it'll be a little something, you know. Or maybe maybe instead of spending all that money on those big extravagant gifts, maybe spend a day together. I think that has more value. Anyways, I was overwhelmed walking into the TJ Maxx store and finding out that there were people there who couldn't afford to buy their gifts, but they bought them anyways. And somewhere along the line, the experience of this season has become diluted from what it really is meant to be. It's about giving part of yourself to someone else. It's wonderful to do that. How do we carry that on moving forward, though? You know, how do we take that energy and move it forward? Let's give a couple of other shout-outs. Melanie in Johnston, Roz in Georgia, Karen in Pawtucket, Liz in Charleston, Rhode Island, Lisa in Cranston, thank you for listening. Lee and another Vegas person, thank you so much. Mary in Norwalk and Tony Jean in Greenville, Rhode Island, thank you so much for being part of the experience. Hello, Milan in Texas. Milan? Yeah. And Veronica in Smithfield, thank you. And Pat in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, thank you so much for being part of the experience. So what are your thoughts, though, about this holiday season? And can we go back to a place where we can give of ourselves? You know, I get it. You're going to buy gifts. That's where you are. That's where I am, maybe. But I really think we have to get out of that space and give a little bit more of who we are. And I think that we can change. I think we could change humanity by giving a piece of us, because we are the conduit. As Mabel was the conduit, as Hippocrates said that the energy that flows from the palm of the hands applied to something created a balance of some sort. We understand that. Wait a minute. Wait, what about Jesus and all the healing he did? He'd walk into a town. People would surround him and they would touch him and they would feel better. And sometimes he didn't do a miraculous healing. He just was there, giving a part of himself in a way that I think we have somehow forgotten, because we're living in the physical world and we're living in this place, and, you know, we're bombarded with information that says, buy this, buy that, do this, do that. But in fact, Jesus walked into a town. I was just going to say, I remember the sea. I was just going to say to you, I remember... Oh, God, I'm losing my mind. I was just going to say to you, I remember being at the Sea of Galilee, but I've never been there. But let's face Oh, boy, the cat's coming out.